beautiful, welcome back to my channel. If you are new around here, my name is Bettina. I'm the makeup enthusiast. In today's video, I'm here to bring you my next update on my project Level Up. I'm currently working on my Glaminatrix U Beauty palette for level 1 on project Level Up. So if you want to see how I'm going on level 1 with this palette, then stay tuned. But before we get into the video, if you are new around here and you want to join the family and you want to keep up to date on all my project pans that I'm doing this year and my other beauty related content, make sure you subscribe it down below. And without further ado, let's jump on into the video. So project Level Up was created by Sofie Alexandra. It is a kind of combo project between Pan Those Eyeshadows and No Pan Left Behind. So you need to progress up through the levels. I went up to level 6 last year and I think I might do that again this year. We're back at level 1. You progress up through the levels, select a palette in your collection, and for each level you need to use every pan in the palette at least the same number of times of the level that you're at, and then you need to hit pan on the same number of pans as the level that you're at. So given that I'm currently on level 1, I need to use every pan in this palette at least once, and then I need to hit at least one pan. It's kind of like a double dual goal with each level that you're going up through. I currently have the Glaminatrix U Beauty palette as level 1. I've been working on this one for a couple of months now. I've been pretty slack on this palette, and last update I was very behind on both of the goals. So I'm here to give you my update on this palette, and I guess let's go through and see how I'm going and how I'm progressing through this palette. So starting with the top row, we have the first one here, which is the color Australia. Now unfortunately I still have not hit pan. I haven't hit my usage goal on this one, so I still have to use this one at least once between now and the next update. Moving along, we have Bloody Oath. Now I have been successful with most of this palette hitting my 1 usage. So Bloody Oath I have actually used once. Moving across, we have the color Chockers, and I have also used this one once. So I haven't used it any more times since the last update, because last update I had used it 1 time. Since the last update I have used Bloody Oath once. Moving across, we have Stitch Up, which is this one on the end here, this dark like matte brown. Last update I didn't have any uses on this one, and since then I've used this one twice. One of them is actually today to create this look. I used the color Stitch Up on the outer corner as the darker brown shade on the outer corner of this look. Moving along to the second row, we have Fair Dinkum. Last update I had used this one 0 times. Since then I have managed to use this one once, so I've hit my goal on that one. Moving along, we have Old Mate. Now again, last update there was 0 uses. This update I have 1 use, and this is actually the shimmer on my lid today. It's actually a really beautiful, nice little shimmer. Next along we have She'll Be Right. Last update I had used it once and was still only sitting at 1 total use in the project. So I haven't used it anymore, but I still have managed to meet my usage goal. Moving along, we have the color Budgie Smuggler. Now last update I had only used this one once. I have used this one an additional 5 times, so we're sitting at 6 uses in total. The bottom row for the last update I had 0 uses on every single shade along the bottom, and I have actually managed to hit usage goal. So the first one being Whoop Whoop, which is this beautiful like yellow iridescent color. I have used this one once since the last update. Moving along, we have Struth, and I have also used this one once since the last update. Then we have Flaming Galah. I have used this one twice since the last update. And last but not least, we have G'day, which is the most beautiful shade in this palette. I have used this one once. So I have hit all of my usage goal on this palette except one, being Australia. I am nowhere near hitting pan, but I do think that there are some of the shimmers that are starting to get a dip. G'day, kind of by nature of the formula, it's starting to get a bit of a dip in there. I am using the mattes a decent amount as well. I have a feeling it's going to be one of the shimmers that I'm going to hit pan on. I don't think it's going to be a very big pan, but I think that's probably where I'm going to find the pan if I am going to hit pan. The mattes are quite densely packed and they're quite deep shades, so I don't find myself needing a lot of them to get like a decent amount of color on my eyes. So just for that reason alone, I don't think I'm going to be finding myself hitting pan on any of the mattes. It's definitely going to be a shimmer. So that's how I'm progressing with this palette so far. I'm happy to see some more love on this palette. It still kind of looks brand new though, because like I said, I only need a small amount for the mattes. So the mattes kind of barely look touched, just because you only need a really small amount. I have one more shade that I need to hit my usage goal on, and then the next goal is just to hit pan. So given that I am predominantly through the hitting pan goal, and I don't think that I will need to give too much more usage on this palette for my hit pan goal, I am going to rotate in my 4 new palettes for you guys to vote on for level 2. I am going to continue on letting you guys vote for my palettes to use in this project. I will use my Tiny Decisions app to choose which palettes to rotate in. If I ever am vibing like a particular palette and I want to pop that in as an option, I may do that throughout the year, but at the moment I think I'm just going to randomly draw them from my list of palettes that I don't have pan on, and then you guys can vote. This may not be entirely up to date. I don't think I've gone through this wheel and the prompts on this wheel. I don't think I've gone through this wheel and the options on this wheel since last year. So there may be some rolls that I'll have to roll again if I know that I've got a pan in that palette. But let's go through and see what the 4 options are going to be. So the first one is the Glamonatrix Cosmetics Sandra Rose palette. Now the first one is a palette that I'm going to have to re-roll. I did hit a pan in the Glamonatrix Sandra Rose palette last year. So let's roll again. We have the Melt Vita palette. That is definitely an option. That's very loud. The Wayne Goss Tourmaline palette, which I think I've had it as an option before, but I don't think you guys chose it. The Juvia's Place Dulce palette. I don't think I've spelled that right. And the last option is the Mary Kay Singles palette. Okay, I have a palette just with random singles in it, but there's a lot of singles in that palette from memory. So I will go grab all of those options and we'll be back in a second. I don't think this is a very fun draw, this one, but it at least allows me to work on stuff that I probably wouldn't like just naturally grab for to hit pan on, I guess. So let's start off with the weird one. I have this palette here. I have a lot of like Mary Kay singles. So out of this palette, I would be needing to use every shade at least twice. And then I would need to hit pan on at least 2 shades. I obviously would not include the highlighter in that option, but I don't think it would be too difficult to hit pan on these. They are quite small pans. A lot of them are like satins though, satin shimmers and shimmers. So it probably wouldn't take me too long to hit pan, but there are quite a number of pans in this palette, so it may be a challenge to use these ones twice, but that's the first option. Then we have this beautiful Melt Vita palette. I just love the packaging on the Melt Muerte palettes, but the Vita palette is the brighter colors out of the 2. This color story is not really one I naturally gravitate towards. There's reds, there's like really cool tone browns in here, and the browns I could probably get some use on, but then we also have these yellows and greens. So it's not really a color story that I gravitate towards very often or easily, and you can probably tell that by the lack of much usage on it, but I do love having this palette because just the packaging is so beautiful. So this one would definitely, I think, be a challenge, but given that we're only needing 2 uses on each pan and then 2 pans, it might not be too bad. So that is that option. Then we have the Juvia's Place Dulce palette, and I think my spreadsheet has it written down as the douche palette. I don't know why. Anyway, I think I spelled it wrong in my spreadsheet. Anyway, this is this option, which, I mean, it's got those beautiful purples in there, and I think the shimmers are probably some that I could very easily use. There are some neutrals in there, so I think that this one will probably be a fairly easy palette for me to at least get the usages on. But the Juvia's Place formula, I have like mixed success with the Juvia's Place palette. So I don't know, these are very big pans. So these are very big pans, so I'm not quite sure how long it would take me to hit pan on these ones, but the color story isn't too bad. And then the last one is the Wayne Goss Tourmaline palette. This is a very neutral palette. So it's neutral, but it's got that kind of like magenta, like warm red brown, brick brown color into it. So I don't think that I would find this one very difficult to wear regularly. But again, these pans are very big. I'm not quite sure how long this formula takes to hit pan on, because I don't think I've hit pan on any of my Wayne Goss products just yet. So I think that I might struggle with this. But in saying that, I think that I would get a lot of use out of this just given the tones of the palette. There is only one matte though, which also is not ideal, but I definitely think that I could probably get some use on it. I'm not sure which one I would hit pan on though. So there's that one. I think that as we're moving through this, we're continuing to move through this project, the palettes are probably going to start to get more and more challenging, because the palettes that are left that I don't have pan on are probably just by nature the harder formulas, or the formulas and the palettes with the color stories that I don't naturally gravitate towards. So it is what it is, but I'm going to continue on my quest to hit a pan in every single palette in my collection, and this is one of the ways that helps me achieve that goal. So these are the 4 options. Let me just quickly run through them again. So the first one is my Mary Kay singles. So that's what this palette looks like. Then we have the Wayne Goss Tourmaline palette. That's what this guy looks like. The Juvia's Place Dulce palette. And then the Melt Vita palette. So those are the 4 options for you guys to vote for. Make sure you cast your vote down in the comments, because the palette with the most amount of votes will be the palette for level 2. So make sure you cast your votes down below. If you did enjoy this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe down below if you are new around here and you want to join the family and keep up to date on all my future projects. That's it for this video, beautiful. I hope you're having an absolutely fantastic day, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.